From Miss Jacksonville to the half and the have-nots, I'm here with Renee Lawless for our AfterBuzz TV Spotlight On.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
She loves to laugh. She loves to sing. She does everything.
Steve Perry, don't cry, please.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Hey guys, we're just, rocking out the journey. I'm Chae Jones. You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram. And I am with the lovely, fabulous Renee Lawless. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Chae. Wonderful to be here.
You want to tell them where they can find you?
They can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and of course Twitter. Renee Lawless to all of them. Twitter, I'm Ms. Renee Lawless, but Renee Lawless will come up.
Don't you just love Pinterest?
I live on it. I'm right now in the process of, I have a new home and I've been decorating and I'm getting ready to remodel my master bath. And so I spend hours, more hours than I have time to spend on Pinterest. I really do.
It's like for the fashion I really wish I could afford.
Yeah.
Like that's like
well, every time I
thing
see
on Pinterest.
Exactly. And there's sometimes they put things on Pinterest and I go, I really want that. By the time I click on it, it's been sold out. And I'm like, why am I wasting my time?
We try, but you have to try.
Exactly. I know.
Well, guys, just a little history lesson. I met this lovely lady at an acting workshop, and she was so gracious to just talk to me. And, oh, your charm is just so amazing. So I just have to say
so
that.
Sweet.
I love
Thank
it.
You, Chae. Thank you.
And I want to know, before you got into acting, did you know that's what you wanted to do? Or did you, before you decided acting was what you wanted to do, that you wanted to do something else, like a different career?
Well, that's kind of a two-part question. I didn't, until I started out as a singer. I started out my education, and even through high school, I was doing a lot of music. I was always acting, but I started my career as a singer. I started as a gospel artist. I was going to be an opera singer, and then went to musical theater, and that was acting, and . But back as a child, because I grew up in the time with the caveman, where you only had 3 channels, and you actually had to get up and walk across the room to change that television set. We didn't have reality television. I know it's weird to think about, but when I was a little girl, I lived in a small town in Tennessee, and I didn't think people grew up and became those people on TV. They were special people that just maybe lived in California or lived in New York, and I didn't really see Broadway shows. I just saw musicals on film. I knew Broadway was there, but here again, it was like that was eons away. I couldn't even fathom it. Kids now are born and they know before they can walk, they want to be on TV because it's all around them. I didn't have that. So, but I was always singing, and I was always acting in plays, and I was always doing theater stuff. Always. My parents were very good about opening me up to and exposing me to a variety of things. I was in ballet and tap and all that kind of stuff. I was a person that sang the loudest in choir. But as a child, I wanted to be a pediatrician. And I wanted to be a pediatrician for a long time, waffling a little bit as I got into around 5th, 6th grade. I thought maybe a marine scientist or marine biologist. Mm-hmm. Still, singing loud at church, acting in all the plays, doing all this stuff. And it was around 6th grade that my voice started changing. And by the time I was 13, I didn't sound like anybody else I knew. My friends, I clearly had a much more developed voice. That 13 happened to be the same year that my mother chose that Thanksgiving to show me the inside of a turkey, gizzards and stuff, and there went my medical career. I could not stomach. My mother was a nurse, and she had nursing books everywhere, and I just all of a sudden realized I couldn't stomach any of that. And so I was involved in the orchestra at the time, and that's when my voice started maturing even more, and I realized that music was where I wanted to go. Still acting in plays, doing community theater, still doing all this, and then it's something I wanted to do, but I had this voice, so I thought I needed to do opera and or musical theater, and that's what. But I always wanted to win the Academy Award. I mean, I always wanted to be that actress that, I watched them faithfully, every year. And it wasn't that I got older and realized, I can actually do this for a living. So in answer to it was a very long, convoluted way of answering your question, in that I realized by high school that I was going to be an entertainer, whether it be music and had acting in it. The ultimate goal was always television and film, but I knew I had to do this via stage because that's where my heart and soul started and still lies. But as the child, no, it was going to be something else.
Well, before you moved all the way and did Broadway, you know, you were Miss Jacksonville 1985, and I have a picture to show everybody.
Oh my goodness!
I do.
Which one? Which one do you have?
I think it's the one that you won in. I'm pretty sure.
Let me see. What does it look like? Let me see. You putting it up there? Is it black and white or
it's black and white?
If it's black and white and I can't see it, so
it's like the black, I think, dress, like
right.
Shoulder.
Yes, that was one of my headshots as Miss Jacksonville. Yes, so you got a good one when I was nice and thin.
You're still thin, like don't even play.
Not as thin as I was for that, I can assure you.
So
that was a lot of hard work.
I bet. I've been in.
I did it on
too.
a dare. I lost 40 pounds to win Miss Jacksonville.
You
I watched my friend.
You joined a pageant on a dare?
I did I did the whole thing on a dare. I was watching Miss America that year. It was the year Vanessa Williams won.
Queen.
And I watched Vanessa, and my boyfriend, in a very loving way, this is going to sound so horrible for anybody to say to their girlfriend, but he said it in a loving way, and I knew the way he said it. I didn't take it wrong, so it's not going to sound. But he looked at me and he said, you could be Miss America if you weren't so fat. And he wasn't, and he never said that. I mean, he's never said anything remotely like that to me ever. And so he wasn't saying it to be derogatory. And that was on a Saturday night. Monday morning, I made a decision on Sunday. I said, you know what? I knew I wasn't huge. And I wasn't obese by any means, but I was probably about a little bit the same. Well, it's all shifted differently, but probably this kind of sort of weight I am now, I guess. And I thought, there's no reason I can't. And I woke up Monday morning. I had Googled, because I had some friends that were in the pageant system. And not Googled, didn't have a computer. I'm sorry. I had researched. I say Google now for that, but I had researched in the telephone book, actually.
I wasn't even going to call you on that one.
No, I'm sorry.
I know, because I knew what you meant.
I looked in the telephone book. This is when, y'all are going to, I'm aging myself so much. When nautical machine, Nautilus, I can't say the word.
Nautilus?
Thank you. That word was the groundbreaking company for exercising machines back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. This was now, we're talking post Jane Fonda, post the aerobics, so all that's coming out.
So before Jane Fonda?
No, this is after Jane Fonda, post.
Okay.
This Jane Fonda's come out, aerobics is everywhere, it's huge. George Michael and Wham had just come out, so this is around that time in the mid 80s. And Nautilus machines were where it was at, and I wanted to find a place in my hometown that had it, and I found a great place. It was a very small gym, which was great, and they had really good aerobic classes, and I would show up in literally long sleeve sweatshirt up to my neck. I was covered, everything, big baggy sweatpants. I did not want anyone to see what my body looked like, and I pretty much lived at that gym for 6 months.
Wow.
Almost, let's see, September, October, November, December, January. Yep, about 6, 7, 8 months. And that was, at the time, Miss America was the weekend after Labor Day. So it would be the second weekend in September. And I was 35 pounds down. I was crowned Miss Jacksonville on April 7th of the following, what's that, 5, 6 months later, 7 months later. And then I went on and I lost about another 5 or 10 pounds, and I was top 10 in talent winner at Miss Florida pageant.
That's awesome.
And went on to compete in Miss Florida a second time, and then and then I moved to get my master's in Ohio, and I competed in the Miss Ohio pageant, was third runner-up, won everything but the crown. I won all the talent awards. I won the preliminary competition. I got third runner. I did not win the crown. So it wasn't meant to be, and it's too bad because I'd have been a brilliant Miss America, but it's okay.
Well, to people in the chat, you are Miss America because they love Katheryn.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, I feel like,
Katheryn is the baddest.
I did get the crown, I tell you.
Yeah, Katheryn is amazing. She's in class all her own.
Oh, thank you.
Katheryn.
I think, Katheryn wouldn't have done pageants, but I think she would have liked to.
Well, you just bought a house.
Yes, I did.
And
I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary. Yeah, actually 1 year. I got about a year ago, and I'm still working on it. I'm a first-time homeowner. It's not my mega mansion dream home, but it's my wonderful, cute little cottage that I love. That I was able to, by the grace of God and the blessings of my job and the blessings of the Lord, to purchase this home. I'm very happy for it.
Well, I heard you bought the house. Now you're just looking for Mr. Right.
Oh, well, I've been looking for Mr. Ruff for a long time. My whole thing was, I believe in the adage, if you build it, they will come. So I thought, well, worst case scenario is I buy this house and I meet the man of my dreams, and he says, well, great, we're going to go get a house over here, and I have to sell this one. If that's what it takes to meet the man of my dreams, it's buying a house. So, I've got a lot of gentlemen callers. I've had some interest. It's not that I don't have, anyone knocking on my door. It's just nothing's really doing it for me. And I'm too old. When I say old, I mean I've been around too long. I don't want to use the word old as in old.
I was gonna say you're not old.
No, and I'm divorced, so I've been married before.
Mm-hmm.
But I have been around too long to settle. And while I'm willing to go out with a lovely gentleman and have a great dinner, and and we could probably hit it off and be great, that doesn't mean we still couldn't have dinner and have a good time. I don't have time to waste, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
I don't have time
I'm getting
to waste.
into that myself.
If I
I'm
was
just
young,
like, I don't have the time anymore to waste my time.
Exactly. But now, if I was in my 20s, that's the time you're supposed to date and date and date and date. I mean, yeah, you are. I mean, that's.
Well, but like, I feel like I don't want the dating. The dating. I want what leads past dating. I want that. I'm waiting on my Mr. Right. I'm not for games. I don't have, because I'm not looking for a boy. That's what I say. I'm not looking for a boy. I'm looking for a man.
But here's the thing.
And it's hard to come
by.
My
father said to me, and he was right, and I waited a very long time. And here again, I have a great relationship with my ex-husband. It wasn't a horrible thing. And so I hate the word divorce sometimes because it's always a negative connotation. And there were things that everybody's reasons are different. And mine was amicable and loving and a lot of other things that went into it. But my father told me, my earliest memory of my dad, because I made a little girl, I can't wait till I grow up and get a wedding and get married, the whole thing. And my father, for as long as I can remember, said, do everything there is to do in life. And when you're bored and have nothing else to do, get married.
Okay.
Now, this is from the man who served in Korea and had been in the military and saw the world, and life was a different time then. But I didn't get married till I was 29. I mean, he meant to enjoy life, get an education, date. Because who you think you want to marry and who you wind up marrying or who you wind up falling in love with are usually two different things. And he wanted me to, and I enjoyed dating. I really did. And even after my divorce, I dated again, but I was a little more career focused. And so it was, okay, let's go out for dinner. I have to be at an audition tomorrow, or I have a show to do, but we can have dinner between. In other words, the career was always first. And the career's pretty much always been first in my life. And now I'm at the point I'd like to have somebody to partner with and to share in my career, or, and me share in theirs. So my advice to young people, and when I say young people, I'm talking 35 and younger, enjoy the dating. And even if you're 35 and older and you're on your second wind, enjoy the dating. I enjoy dating. I mean, just because when Mr. Right does walk into my life, I'm going to want to really enjoy the courting and the dating and the getting to know and the dinner and the pick me up and let's hit that movie, or let's hit that arts festival, or let's hit that SEC football game, please, because you have to be football. An SEC fan. If you're not an SEC fan, we're gonna be. Don't give me this whole Pac-10, 12, 11, 13 thing, something, huh?
Can they just be an NFL fan?
They can be an NFL fan, but if they're an NFL fan, they got to love their college too. So.
Okay.
Yeah, they got to be they got to like football. They just, they just got to like football,
What would you say your favorite musical is?
Oh, you're going to ask me that.
Yes, I am. I have to.
I can't if I had a nickel for every time I'm asked this question. Because my heart always goes to a musical that I've done first. And there was a musical I did years ago called 10 Types that was a very successful Broadway show that is still very dear and close to my heart. Wicked will always be a very, and there was a show I did in college called Kismet that for various reasons was very close to my heart. I love Closer Than Ever. I'm getting ready to see Hamilton in 2 weeks.
Oh, so lucky.
In New York.
I wish I
I'm
had
going to
tickets.
go in, it's not to the one in LA. I'm hoping to see the LA cast, but I'm going to the Broadway show. A friend of mine is in the Broadway play. I finally have a ticket. I hope, she says, I won't know for sure till 3 days before, but I pray I have the ticket. And I'm sure once, and I played the soundtrack all the time.
I am the only person probably who has not listened to that soundtrack because I refuse to until I see it.
And that's fine. But I will have to say, if I had to pull a musical out of the sky, and although a lot of people that saw it, even though it got Best Musical, agree that we think it's more of a play with music in it.
Oh, Dear Evan Hansen?
No, I haven't seen that. I hope to see that. No, is Once.
Oh, okay.
I saw the original Broadway company. I sat there just blown away. Now, blown away. I did see the original. I've seen Masterclass on Broadway twice, one with Dixie Carter and one with Tyne Daly. It's a role I would kill to play one day. And then I've done always Patsy Cline. And those are two great musicals that I love too. But if I had to say the musical that really just stands out with me, I would have to say Once. And it's very difficult to ask a musical theater person what their favorite musical is. Because we have our reasons for all of them.
That's
like,
true.
don't ask me what my favorite movie is because I'm going to list movies for the past 50 years, or 100 years.
I'm the same way when it comes to musicals, but I have my top one. I will never change because I can't help
What
it.
is it?
Rent.
Really?
It's because the first time I saw it, I was so connected with the story. Maybe it's because of the starving artist thing, and it was just the songs and everything flowed, and I just love the characters, and that's always gonna be my top one. Obviously, I have the ones under that I can't help but love.
I got to admit, for the longest time until Once, and it still is to a degree, and I just now remembered that I forgot to say this. They always say your favorite musical is the first one you see live, as far as on Broadway. Dreamgirls. Period. But I'll never be ever in Dreamgirls. But I can sing the entire soundtrack. When I tell you, I saw Shirley Lee Ralph. I saw the original Bobby Company of Dreamgirls, and it was in the 80s. My first and only trip to New York, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was in awe. It was just incredible.
I love Dreamgirls.
I love it.
That story is awesome.
Oh. And I've been very privileged to have now met Jennifer Holliday and Jennifer Hudson. And I was at a party 2 years ago, and we were in a room the size of a very large living room, and with a small little band, and they got up and did "And I Am Telling You" as a duet, and I was probably from 10 feet in front of them, and I'm thinking, I love my life.
I mean, if you're in the room with Jennifer Holliday, you have to.
I'm thinking, and where I was, we weren't allowed to pull out our phones or cameras and take anything, and I'm like, if they could see me now, that good old gang of mine. I mean, literally, it was one of those things. It was great.
Would you say making the transition from Broadway to film and television was more difficult or easier for you? If you're talking about as an actress, as far as the acting itself, fortunately, I had enough education and enough training that, and was blessed to be with an incredible director like Tyler Perry that took such good care of me, that I was nervous my first day on set as an actress, thinking, because I'm no longer on a stage and things aren't big and over the top. I had to bring it in more.
that transition was successful because of what I do. If you're talking about the actual process, I couldn't get an audition. It took me for, and I got, a few auditions, and I did a lot of independent films while I was in New York, but they have a thing in New York. If you're in musical theater, if you don't win, it's very difficult to break into television unless you win a Tony. There are a few that have done it, but it's just harder to get in the room. Okay. It's changing now. It's slowly changing. But if you've got a predominantly musical theater resume, it's hard to get in the room unless a casting director is willing to take a chance on you. And I was very blessed that happened. But I tell a lot of people, I self-submitted for my role on the Haves and Have-Nots. I didn't have an agent. I had a manager. And I saw it online. And I sent them my headshot and resume, never thinking in a million years I would get an audition. And when I got a phone call from the studio, as well as because they reached out through my people, because it was on my resume, that they went for an audition. I was driving down the road in the car. hands-free. I'm hands-free when I got the phone call. But I was literally driving down the road when I got the audition. I almost wrecked the car. And same thing with the first time I got to Broadway, I was driving down the road, and it wasn't really hands-free, but that was back in the day. That wasn't hands-free. And I was driving down the road when I got the call that they want me to go to Broadway. And I'm like, from now on, I just can't answer those kinds of calls when I'm behind the wheel of a car, because two big breaks.
Or maybe you should.
Or maybe I should, because that's right.
You have a record now.
So I was just so grateful for the audition that I knew I wanted to do a good job. And I thought, wow, they're taking this kind of a chance on me to give me this audition. You better bring your A game. And I worked and worked. I had a little bit, well, I didn't have that much time, actually. I found out I had the audition. They called me on a Friday. They needed it to them by Monday morning, and the only time I could do it was Saturday afternoon between shows. I was doing Wicked at the time, and we were on a 5-show weekend, and I had a matinee and an evening performance, and the only time I had to lay down that tape was between shows on a Saturday. So I stayed up like all night memorizing lines, and I auditioned and submitted the tape, and then they liked it so much, they called me on Tuesday and said, they gave me an adjustment, and they had me resubmit. And I had, again, one more night to submit. And then I didn't hear anything for 2 months. So the process wasn't difficult. It wasn't easy. It wasn't really anything. It was literally a miracle in the making. That's the only thing I can describe.
I mean, miracles happen everywhere.
Yes, I mean, literally, I tell people God had his hand in it, because to this day, it was a Cinderella story. I mean, I have to tell you, when I look at the whole process, even when I got the call for the callback, I was still on the road, and they were flying me to LA for callback. And I'm like, what is going on? I remember thinking, is this really happening? And then the day of the callback, the way the whole callback went down, how people were called in and then people were let go, and let go. It was kind of like round 1, round 2, that thing. The whole scenario, I was like, what is going on? I'm just this thing. And as it's unfolding, I'm thinking, is this really my life right now? And it was just a blessing, and I'm very grateful for it. And now I'm in the thick of it, and the harsh realities of it, and whatnot.
Well, you're also working on your own video blog called Renee's Way, or The Highway.
Yes, that poor video blog that I try to not talk about so much, because that video blog is now turning into a video series, potentially, of crafting and ask me a question, I'll fix it. And it's taking on a completely different role. It's gone through a metamorphosis. And every time I have the time to really sit down and work on it, it's a terrible thing to happen, but I have something else. I got to go. And every time I have the moment to actually, okay, we're going to make this happen now, something happens. So it's one of those, I'm thinking, is it ever going to happen? But it will one day.
Well, I do have a video.
Pardon?
I found a video.
Well, you probably have, because I've been very blessed to be on Hallmark Home and Family several times. And I've got you guys see my demo video of Renee's Way, The Highway is what it is. Yes. That was going to be my opening. Absolutely.
It's a great opening. I really enjoyed it. I was like, good. Okay, she's traveling everywhere. New York.
Right,
it's like everywhere. I loved it.
And I liked it. I loved that in video. And that's basically says a lot about what I wanted it to be and still want it to be. And it's going to happen. It's just going to probably come on in a different form. Different format or something.
Well, I mean, everything evolves.
Exactly.
Everything has to evolve.
Exactly. I'm also now working on some music stuff. I'm hoping to get a CD in another year or so, but I've just been talking about going into the studio and laying down some tracks for some things, not to record so much as to have on hand to maybe if I wanted to promote doing a cabaret show or something like that. So
That'd be fun. I've heard you sing. I was like, what?
Oh.
You better sing.
Thank you.
I don't know. It's like the way when you started singing, I was just like maybe because you have this very like Southern belle, and then it's just like, but it's like it's very classy, smoky, jazzy. Like I know what I'm doing type.
I tell you, I've been
feel.
studying voice for almost 30 years, so I hope I know what I'm doing. Sometimes I think,
Well, not like that,
Yeah,
but-
right. But it's some people hear me. I'm in my professional mode, but when I'm sitting around my house, the Southern comes out. So if I want to do a redneck song or some old country hick song, that's fine. I play country in my car, and then I play Van Halen on the next station. So it depends. And then I have musical theater, and then I also like opera. So I can't do it all, but I make a concerted effort to.
Well, we appreciate it.
Well, thank you. I try to put my hand in everything a little bit, but
Well, first of all, also congratulations, season 5
yes,
of the Have and Have Nots.
right. We've got 2 more weeks to the finale, and boy, it's a doozy. Well, as if burning down my mansion last week wasn't doozy enough.
I saw
I'll tell
that
you.
like it's your character face. She's just like I thought you were in. It was just so calm. It just. Like this is everyday conversation I'm talking about. Like I'm not talking about. I'm just like my house is burning right in
My
front of
house
me.
is burning down, and
Like, I don't know.
It's so funny because that was a telltale moment for Katheryn. She's watching her. I hate to use the word life, but basically she's watching her life go up in smoke. What Veronica doesn't know is that the house was empty. Katheryn moved all the furniture out. There's not a thing in the house, but this is not in the script. This isn't anywhere. But as a character, my backstory, in my mind, this is something that Tyler Perry has never said to me, but this was me. In my mind, I bought that house for us when Jim and I got married. And it looks that Tudor-esque instead of plantation-esque because it was something Jim liked, and I wanted to have something that Jim liked. But that house went through a lot of tragedy. The loss of my daughter, the potential loss of my son, murder.
Yeah,
Murder. So there have been, you saw the murder that I did, and it wasn't my first rodeo, I'm sure. But the house, I think, represented also a lot of the happy memories there, but in the last, 10, 15 years, they were the sad memories. So as much as Katheryn was ready to move on, there still is that emotional. That's where she raised her children. So she's standing there watching her house go up in smoke, and she's watching all of the happy and all of the unhappy go with it. And any lasting memory of her daughter, physical memory, not pictures or anything like that, but the room, all that stuff is burned up with it. And burning down the house. And I think when Katheryn walks away, she walks away. When it was over with, she was done. That was her turning point.
How was the filming schedule? Because I know when we talked, you're like, we're on like almost soap opera.
Right.
Style,
We shoot about an episode a day. Sometime this past season, we just shot 44 episodes in 6 weeks. And considering they're 1 hour, I'm going to put it into perspective for you, and that a normal 1 hour drama takes 8 to 10 days to shoot. They do a maximum of 10 pages, even if that many a day in a 1 hour drama. We shoot 85 pages a day. And sometimes, last season, the whole first 13 episodes, my scenes in the first 13 episodes were done in 2 days. I shot 13 of my scenes in 13 episodes in 2 days. So,
Okay.
And it's not always that way. It's just the way, and it was a fluke thing. And this season, there were some days that were equally as hectic just because of the way it lined up. Not because he's saying, oh, Renee can handle, let's just throw that at her, because we all had that. every single one of us had to go through a couple of those days. It's just the way we shoot, but you trust what you do. And sometimes you walk away and you go, wow, how was that? But you also trust your director. And I know that Tyler Perry's not going to put anything out there that he didn't like. So.
That's true. Beatrice in the chat says she loves you on Have and Have Nots.
Oh, what? I'm sorry?
Beatrice in the chat.
Hi, Beatrice.
She loves you.
Oh, great. I love, we have the best fans in the world. I can honestly say that. And we tweet live every Tuesday night. The majority of the cast does. Some of us are busy and some of us aren't. And when we are, we tell we tweet that out. But we all watch it even on our phones if we're not home, too. So we can tweet with the cast. And
well, what I want to talk to you about a little bit is Katheryn's character. Like, she went from very passive aggressive to from season 1 to now, like, it seems like the gloves are just off, completely off. And what has that journey been like for you as you traveled through Katheryn's last 5 years?
It's about time. The thing about it is, I look at this is a terrible analogy, but I look at our show like Star Wars. Our show started with episode 4. The original Star Wars is really episode 4 of a 7-chapter series. Then they made 4, 5, and 6, and then they went back and did the 1, 2, and 3. Well, you're never going to see the 1, 2, and 3 of the Have and Have Nots, but we came in the middle of their story. But you've learned about the backstory of the Have and Have Nots through all our seasons, and I'm hoping everybody can imagine my analogy that I'm coming up with, and so. Like I said, I don't think this is the first person Katheryn has ever killed. And this is not the first time she's thrown the gloves off. But Katheryn doesn't let anyone else see her sweat. So the audience saw all that she felt, but they thought, wow, she's really not a very nice person. But they didn't know what she had gone through. They didn't know what she was dealing with. And as time has gone on, you saw how her children have been. You see how her husband is. You see why she's the way she is. And she suppressed it. And for years, it was Jim, Jim will handle it. Jim will handle it. And she's, Katheryn's always been that way. But the thing about it is if you think about our show, we've been on for 5 years, but the show's really only been on, the storyline's only lasted like a year. Only like 9, 8 months have passed. So Katheryn gets to a certain point and then she's done. And now she's really done. And you've gotten to see all those layers of her. You've gotten to see her vulnerability, her sad side, her tough side. And now you're just seeing she really doesn't care. I wish I had her chutzpah sometimes. If I had that kind of money, I probably wouldn't care either. But I don't have $250 million yet. But I wonder, I just think this is the difference between Katheryn and Veronica. Katheryn's old money, Veronica's new money. Katheryn doesn't have to prove to you how much money she has. She doesn't have to talk about it. She doesn't have to wear it. And she doesn't have to use it. She's always had it. And her family's always had power. It'd be like being a Kennedy. If you grew into a family that's always been rich, always had power, always been at a certain state, then you don't know any other way to be. I know what it's like to be poor. Really well, you know what I mean? And so I also know what it's like, too, to have to put on the brakes when some extra money starts coming in. But Katheryn has always known one way. Now, all of that being said, if Katheryn were in a situation where she had nothing, she would still survive. And she would know how to turn it around. I do not think in any way is she a slave to her money or she wouldn't know what to do without it. She would survive.
What advice would you give Katheryn?
Well, she's slowly coming. She needs a moral compass. I really wish sometimes she would listen to Hannah regarding her. I think she is to a degree about faith. I think Hannah has had a significant influence on her with her faith. Um, some of the advice I would give Katheryn, she's actually going to follow in the next few seasons, so I'm not going to tell you what that advice would be.
Okay.
But I think she is going to, so I'm not going to tell you what that is, but I'm going to give you a different advice. I think Katheryn eventually, and I'm not saying that this has happened, Katheryn eventually is going to have to let the chips fall where they may. And I think she's already started to show that. And I don't mean like not caring. I mean, she might have to face the music. She may not, but somebody's going to have to face the music.
Do you have a favorite Katheryn Cryer quote?
Yes, I
that
do.
you said?
Yes, I do.
Oh, I don't want to hear this.
I'm not like you and Jim. I don't take the easy way out. I don't pay people to do my dirty work. I walk through. I don't pay people to do my dirty work. I walk through the front door.
I have a favorite one that I
Okay.
heard, and it was just awesome. You're just like, I'm gonna teach you fear and how to fear, because you will fear me forever. I was like, drop the mic. Go ahead.
That was good. Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, I have probably a Katheryn Cryer quote book that I, you know what I mean. You're asking me for one quote, but he's given me some real doozies. I've got to say, TP's really given me some good doozies.
What's the best advice he's given you over these last, 5 years?
Advice?
Or, just moments that you've shared that like really
There was
resonates
a
with
moment one time, and he pulled me aside. We had done a take, and I'm trying to remember what scene it was. He pulled me aside and he said, we did a take, and I thought it was fine. I guess. And he pulled me aside and he said, that was really good. That was really good. Now I want it to be really great. And he gave me an adjustment. And he said, let's go do it again and do it this way. But, oh, wow, you're asking me what advice. I guess just trust myself. Because one time I said, can we do that again? And he goes, why? And I go, and he goes, it was good. Trust yourself. So I guess that would be the best advice. Trust myself.
That's advice for everybody in this industry, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if I had insisted, he would have done another take. Mm-hmm. I do a lot of one takes. We move so fast that unless it's really crash and burn, we do a lot of one. But this was earlier on when we were doing a few more takes. But there was one that I just didn't feel right, and I got to tell you, every time, I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm here to tell you that we all talk about this. Every season, I could be on set and I go, oh, that's awful. And it'll bother me all day. A particular scene will just. I can't let it go because I think it's awful. And I'm like, that's just going to be horrid. It's going to be out there for the whole world to see. And sure enough, it airs and it becomes great. I'm like, so good editors, and never fails. The scene that I hate the most winds up being one of the best ones, and I don't know why.
Well, before we get out of here, I have a little season 5 finale clip that everybody needs to look forward to.
Okay, let's do that. Which one we can see?
Hallowed be thy name. Mama, help me.
I'm out of faith. I'm just empty.
Oh, Candace, what have you done?
The son of a bitch killed my son.
He needs to go.
This is what happens when you leave a mess. You can't keep walking my life like you're my savior. I didn't tell you everything about me.
Prepare yourselves, Habs fans. Only 2 episodes left until the vengeance-filled season finale.
So you want to go to jail?
That face, that
Perry's
look,
the haves and the
though.
have-nots. Tuesdays,
Oh my gosh,
9,
that
8
look
Central.
gives me life.
I have to tell you one thing about. Do we have time? Do I
Yeah,
have
of
time to get this?
course.
Did you just saw the clip with Hannah and Katheryn? That's a trailer for tomorrow's episode, I think. I have to tell you, Katheryn's going to give a speech tomorrow night. if it's that scene, I think. I know that's that scene, but if that airs tomorrow night, but that scene with Hannah, you know, the genius of Tyler Perry, is he a man ahead of his time? We shot that over a year ago. And what you're going to hear me say to her is so pertinent to what's going on today. It is.
Wow.
It's a beautiful moment. I don't even know what it looks like. I could ruin it for all I know. I don't know. But the words are very pertinent to what's going on today. To the point when I read that, I remember reading it going, and to know that we did this a year ago, but it's being aired right now. It's just powerful. It's really powerful, and yeah, it was a moment on set. That's all I can say.
Can you tease us anything for like after the finale that fans might want to sink their teeth into to get them upset a little bit? Can you
There's
spoil anything?
There's a trailer people saw last week. It's not the finale, but it's coming up that Katheryn might be potentially having something, maybe.
Something.
With somebody.
Ooh.
Well, something.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. I get it.
If you saw the trailer last week, she may or may not. We'll see. But as far as the finale is concerned, it's. I'm trying to remember. We just shot 2 seasons. I'm like 3. I'm already know the finale of 2019, so I'm trying to keep it all in perspective. There's going to be some really powerful, beautiful acting moments coming. Not only is the finale cliffhanger-wise going to be huge.
She had to say it 3 times, so we know. Huge.
Not necessarily by Katheryn, but I mean, it's just as huge as, it's huge. But there are some moments with other castmates that are really bringing some powerful performances. So I think the audience is going to they're going to have their action, they're going to have their cliffhanger, but they're also going to see some amazing acting.
Which is what we love to see. Mm-hmm. The show has been keeps killing the game in ratings too. Right,
I know we are still the number 1 show on OWN. We are still the number 1 show on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock on cable. As the applause sounds, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. We are the number 1 show, and we're in sometimes the top 5 of the week, and sometimes we're in the top 2 and top 3. And Tuesday nights, if you tweet with the cast, hashtag HAHN, please, when you tweet or Facebook, we trend well after we go off the air. I mean, it was incredible. Last week, I stayed up and watched Tyler Perry's masterclass right after our show. Well, stay up. I mean, it was right after. But and I watch it with the East Coast, so I watch it from 6 to 7, and then the masterclass came on from 7 to 8, and the Have and Have Nots was still trending, and so by the time it hit the West Coast, we were still we were trending almost all evening, and it was wonderful. And I applause for that great fans, yay! Applause!
Keep them
yay! And they keep us going, and we keep thinking, is this going to keep up? And we're just amazed because we're not doing the big magazine spreads anymore and the billboards anymore, but the fans are still there with us, and we thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Chae, for having me. This has been lovely. You've asked really great questions.
Thank you. You want to tell them one more time where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Renee Lawless, Twitter, Ms. Renee Lawless, Instagram, Renee Lawless, and what have I left out? Pinterest, Renee Lawless, and don't try the snap and chat thing. I just can't. I tried. I just can't. But I try sometimes. So that's all social media. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Exactly.
And again,
I'm working on my Instagram.
Instagram is fun.
I know.
So now they have filters. So now you kind of, Snapchat is kind of
And I've got to learn this whole PixArt thing. I don't know how to do that either. Oh, it's awful.
Is it Pixar?
PixArt. It's not social media. It's what you do. Oh, I don't even know. There's too many apps for my age. I can't.
Again, guys, I am Chae Jones. You can find me at Real Chae Jones on Twitter and Instagram. And we'll see you next time on AfterBuzz TV. Spotlight on.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.